Hey guys, Dale Thompson here, and I want to thank you as always for spending a moment of your time here with me, or a few moments, I should say, here on my blog. I promise I will try not to waste it, and give you hopefully some good value. So what I decided I was going to do today is I had finally made the decision that I was going to actually put into use a CD set that a friend of mine gave me as a gift from Tony Robbins. And so I opened up the set. It's about 12 or 15 cassettes, and or not cassettes, but CDs. And I listened to the first one today, and I want to kind of share with you some of the things that I pulled out of it that are valuable to me, in hopes that maybe it will be valuable to you as well in some small way. I might be able to help you make a small shift in what you're currently doing, right? That's going to, get you the results that you want. And I'll be doing more of these as I go through the series, as I go through the CDs, to kind of give you a little bit more of what is on those CDs from my perspective, of course. And what I got out of them, in hopes that it might help you. So number one thing that I got out of this was that the majority of people, everybody, if you're not where you want to be in life, the only reason that you're not where you want to be, and the only reason you are where you want to be, if you are, is you. And the biggest thing that people have trouble accepting is the fact that they are responsible for their own life, for the life that they live, the life that they create, what they give their family, what they give their friends, what they give to the world. And what greater gift can we give ourselves, our family, our friends, the world, than the best that we can possibly be, right? To me, that's the greatest gift of all, because there's only one of us in the world. And, so our uniqueness adds value to those that we come in contact with, or that's what I believe it should be. Okay, so that was point number one, is that you really need to take responsibility for the life that you have. Look in the mirror, and the person responsible is the one looking back at you. It's not your boss, it's not your wife, it's not your kids, it's not your friends, it's you. Ultimately, it's you, because the decisions that you make control your, or not make, control where you are in life, right? I mean, that's just common sense. Okay, so that was point number one. Point number two was that people are not where they want to be, whether it be in their personal life or their business life, because of one of two reasons. One is because they're afraid of failing. Right? Oh, well, what's this person? That perfect example, right? You're in a bar and you see, you're a single guy and you see this gorgeous woman come up, come into the bar, and you think, man, I'd love to go over and talk to her, and, maybe if, things go right, maybe get her phone number so I can call her later and ask her out on a date, right? Well, most of us, or not, maybe not all of us, but I know for myself, there was a fear of, what if I get turned down? What if, especially if she had girlfriends around, right? She was with other people, other, either coworkers or whatever the case may be, right? Well, I don't want to look like an idiot. What if she turns me down? Man, that's really, horrible, right? So that's one aspect, okay? Fear of failure. The other aspect could be, fear of success. And this is an interesting concept, because you think, what? Why would anybody be afraid of success, right? Well, here's kind of what the way I perceived it when he was talking, and what he was getting at. Let's say, for example, let's take that same girl, that same woman, right? And there may be people that say, well, I know I can, I'm a nice guy, I'm outgoing, I'm fun to be with, but what if I go over there and we get into a conversation, and then she gives me her phone number, and I call her up and ask her out on a date, and it turns out that I really like her. What can I really provide? Can I really take this relationship long term, right? Can I be interesting enough to create the attraction, and then later on maybe the love that it's going to take to be with this person for the rest of my life, right? Can I really do that? I mean, what happens if, once I do succeed, what happens if I then fail, right? And my marriage goes to pieces, right? That's the example that he used. Let's put it another way. Let's say, for example, you want a promotion, right? And you think, well, I'm going to go in and talk to my boss and ask for this promotion. I know I can do it. And then in the back of your mind, you think, well, what if I do get that promotion? And what if I, can't live up to the standards that what is that going to do to me, right? So it's interesting. Some people, it's the fear of failure, but in other people, it's the fear of success. What can I really handle, being president of the company? Can I really handle managing 50 people? Can I really handle being on the leaderboards and speaking at events, if you're in a network marketing company that has events, right? So these were really interesting concepts to me, and things that really made me stop and think is, what is it that is really holding me back from achieving my dreams? Yeah, I've had some success, and yes, I've learned a lot along the way, and I've tried to provide some of that in my blog post, so that hopefully you can take that and run with it and see success for yourself. But I'm nowhere near where I want to be in life. Nowhere near it. And it really made me stop and think, what is it that's holding me back? Is it the fear that I'm going to succeed and all of the pressures that that's going to create? Because let's face it, guys, no matter where we are in life, we always going to have pressures, okay? We're always going to have responsibilities that we need to handle, right? No matter where we are in life. So versus, is it, well, what if I fail? Then I'm really going to feel, horrible about myself. The other thing, the other aha moment, or the other point that really stood out for me, is the fact that people, and this kind of goes with the fear of success, is there are some people that think that they only deserve so much, right? That they don't, they want this, that, or the other thing, but then they think, oh, I'm really not good enough. I don't really deserve that. Who am I, to achieve that level? Because you see people all the time, they get to a certain point in their career or in their personal lives, and all of a sudden they start to go backwards. They start to sabotage what it is that they've achieved. And and the example that he used was, when he had built this big company, at the age of in his early 20s, all of a sudden he started to sabotage his own success. He started not showing up for key meetings. He started yelling at people that didn't do, and treating them badly, people that had done so much for the company and didn't deserve to be treated that way. He said at one point he fired just about everybody that worked for him. He was down to 3 or 4 people in the office because some way, shape, or form, in his own mind, he thought that all this success was not, he wasn't good enough to achieve that success. Okay, and so he began to revert back and sabotage what he had built over a very short period of time. Right? So there are people out there like that. And you have to really analyze yourself and think about what it is that you want, and do you really deserve it? Okay. Now here's the other thing that he gave us in the CD was 3 steps to success. Right, in your personal life, in your business life, just in life in general. Step number one, and you may want to write this down, is get crystal clear on what you want in life. What is it that you want in your personal life? What is it that you want in your business life? What is it, how do you want your relationships with friends and family to go? Okay. Number 2 is to know, or like 1A is to know your outcome. Okay. If you're going over to a friend's house, know what you want that outcome to be. Okay. You there just to have fun, or you there to make them feel really loved? Or are you there for some other reason? Okay, know your outcome. Know what it is that you want, okay, out of any situation. You ever get in an argument with somebody and then you forget what the hell, why you had the argument to begin with, what the hell you were arguing about? You ever have that? I know probably a lot of married couples have. I know I did when I was married. We get into out and outright screaming matches, and then I'd stop and say to myself, maybe not outwardly, but inwardly, what the hell was I arguing about? I can't even remember what caused this argument. I didn't even know, because it got so out of hand, right? And that's the way life can be. If you don't know what your outcomes, if you're not crystal clear on what you want your outcomes to be. Number two, take massive action. Because see, guys, knowledge, knowing what your goals are, what your outcomes are, is not power. The only time knowledge is power is when it's coupled with consistent, massive action. Okay? And along with that massive action, and here's a little shortcut that he said, and I'm sure you've been told this over and over again, is that you want to accelerate your success? Find somebody who is doing what you want to do or has what you want to have and model them. Find out what they did. Let me tell you a little story here. And I know this video is running long, but I feel it in my heart to share this with you, because I think it can help if you listen to my words. I was listening to an audio the other day from one of my mentors, David Wood. A lot of you may know David or heard of him. He is the co-founder, one of the co-founders of Empower Network, right? He and Dave Sharp founded the company. Dave Sharp, unfortunately, because of what he had been through in life had come down with a serious illness and had to step away from the company in order to work on getting well. And so David Wood is now the owner of Empower Network. And David said when he was struggling, and he had struggled in several companies, right? And for years and years and years. And finally, one day at an event, he realized that it wasn't the companies that was the problem. It was him. Because there were all these other people in this room of thousands of people, right, that were succeeding. And he wasn't. So logic would tell you, well, if they can do it and I'm not succeeding, what's the, and no matter what company I go to, I don't succeed. What's the constant there? It's not the company or the products, it's the individual. And he went to this gentleman who was running the seminar after the seminar. And he said, I'm not succeeding. I can't do what, I can't make the money that I want to make. I can't, I can't do this. Not that I couldn't do it, but I'm not succeeding. And he said, David, he said, I want you to promise me you'll do two things for the next 10 years. And Dave said, well, what are they? And he said, I'm not going to tell you, but you have to promise me that you will do these two things for the next 10 years. Right? And he said, well, what are they? He says, David, he said, you got to promise me you're going to do these things for the next 10 years. I'll tell you what they are. And he said, well, okay, I promise. And he said, number one is read or listen to a personal development audio or read from a personal development book at least 15 minutes to a half hour every day for the next 10 years, and go to every event you possibly can for the next 10 years. Go to every event, no matter what. And he said there was an event in 2 weeks and he was broke at the time. So he's thinking, how is he going to, he said, Dennis, he said, the event's in 2 weeks and, I'm broke. He said, David, didn't you just tell me you promised me you were going to do those two things? He said, if you don't go to the event, then you lied to me and I'll never talk to you again. So needless to say, he got to the event. Okay. But this was back in the early 2000s, right? In 2012, he walked out on stage in front of a crowd of over 3,000 people. And he said it was then at that moment that he had realized what he was told was right. It's about decisions and doing the things that are in modeling people who are successful and doing what they do. And here he had founded a company and they were doing something like $60 million or something like that at the time in volume. And the company was like about a year old, 2 years old, something like that at the time. Okay, so so that's that. And so take massive action, okay? And then find somebody who is doing or has what you want and then model them. That's number 2. Number 3 is develop an acute awareness of what your results are and be flexible. Okay? When you take these massive actions, are they working? Okay, if they didn't work, well, let's fix it. Let's try something a little bit different and see if that works. Because, guys, if you don't know whether it's working or not, how can you move forward? You have to know what works, what doesn't. And when it doesn't work, don't get frustrated, get excited, because you just learned something. You now know this thing doesn't work, so let's try something else. You've taken a step forward. You've taken one step forward, then 99% of the people around you have no clue about. Okay? So, guys, I hope this has helped you. It's my sincere hope, and I feel it in my heart, that I wanted to share this with you, and I'll be sharing more. And like I said, I am in no way, shape, or form have the charisma or the passion that Tony Robbins does, but I can tell you what I can give you is my what I've gotten out of it, and what I believe, and what I'm doing, and what successes I'm having, in hopes that it will in some small way affect you in a positive way. Because that's my goal, is to try to positively impact as many people as I can before I leave this earth, whenever that happens to be. Okay? So with that, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate you as always. I apologize for this being a little long, but I hope you got something out of it. So with that, everyone have a prosperous, awesome day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.